The wild card round recaps, and we're gonna start with the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Bills won 27-24 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars had a 8-game winning streak leading into their home playoff game, led by, of course, Trevor Lawrence, Brandon Tudum, Travis Etienne. But Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills came out swinging in the second half, and they came out with a bit of better game plan as far as getting their offense rolling with Josh Allen, because I knew going into it, and I knew going into the game, and even doing my previews of the games, that the Jags were number one in slowing and stopping the run. They were number one rush defense in the entire NFL. So their defense is going to slow down James Cook and slow that running game down with Ray Davis, James Cook, and so on. So I knew it was going to be a tough game, tough sledding for them. And they would have to actually rely on Josh Allen's legs, his arm, and really his whole talent, like he's done before in the past, where he's got to 7 playoff appearances and 2 AFC championship appearances. So they would have to rely on him to really get the job done, and he did. He secured that win. He secured that victory and getting his first wild card road playoff win, when a lot of people didn't even think that he would go in there and get it done. And the thing is, the Buffalo Bills defense still has problems as far as stopping their run on their end, and you kind of seen it overall, where they gave up 154 rush yards and they only had like 79, and they were pretty much double the average yards per play because they got gashed in the running game. Both were very efficient on third down. It's just the difference was they had more plays, more fourth down conversions, the Bills did, and they had a little bit more time possession, and they were also pretty good in the red zone. Not to say the Jags wasn't, but they were just all the way good in the red zone. The Bills were, and they just had a little bit of a different take. And I said before that Josh Allen would have to be Superman. Josh Allen had to put the cape on and really get the job done. If he wasn't going to be able to do that, the Bills was not going to be able to win this game today. Win the game yesterday. So they did a good job securing that road playoff victory. Now they go back on the road again to face up against the Denver Broncos. And we get to the Patriots and Chargers game later on. But just my thing is, the Bills got to work on their run defense. They got to have gap sound integrity. It was too many rush lanes where they were just allowing, Etienne and Tudum and the rest of that Jags running core just getting like easy 7, 8, 10 yards a pop. And you can't do that going deeper into the playoffs. You can't do that. Then you're going to go on a roll. Now, the Broncos don't necessarily run the ball better like the Jags did, so they're not going to have as many problems. But Bo Nix can use his legs a lot, and if they don't have gap integrity and close in the pocket to shut down and slow down Bo Nix's running ability, then they're going to have a hard time getting after him, man. They're going to have a hard time, like Epinesa, Greg Rousseau, Joey Bosa. They're going to have a hard time getting after Bo Nix in the next following game if they don't really secure their gap integrity. And now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by the way, shout out to Bishop. Shout out to Cole Bishop, number 24. He had an interception. He had like 3 pass defenses. And also shout out to Tre'Davious White. He had about 4 pass breakups. He was really good down the stretch. But getting to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the story of their season is pretty much a home playoff loss. Now, what's this going to reflect on Trevor Lawrence? What's it going to reflect on Liam Cohen? Well, moving forward, I know they're going to keep the roster. They might as well just run it back. At the end of the day, because they're going to have so many problems and flaws moving forward. As far as their pass defense, they played a lot of covers. They played some cover 6, and then they played a little bit of cover 9. And that's how the Bills was able to get big pass plays down the field. A few blitzing opportunities to try to get after Josh Allen did not work. So their defense has got to improve as far as like getting after the quarterback. and they're gonna have to really stay healthy next year. They want to try to run this thing back. And as far as the turnovers from Trevor Lawrence, the first interception definitely made a bad read. None of the receivers was open. So he just kind of made a bad read to try to look for somebody to try to get open. It just didn't work. Now the second interception towards the end of the game, that was a tip pass. So that was really good pass breakup by Tre'Davious White, and just was right on the money on the spot was Cole Bishop. And so that play wasn't necessarily his fault. It was just like, he was just trying to make a play, and it just did not go. It just did not go their way. The Jaguars had an okay season, had a really good season, but an okay outcome in the later half, in the earlier parts of the game. There was a missed field goal by Cam Little. I think it was from 53 yards. It did not go through. It was wide to the left. And also, another thing was when the clock management late in the fourth quarter by the Jags was also not very good. It was very poor. So that's also what provided them the loss for this game. So in my opinion, they're gonna have to work on clock management next year. They're gonna have to work on, the timely throws that Trevor Lawrence has to make, but just wasn't ready to take that next step. Haven't been in this kind of position before. So a lot of things happened where it was turnovers, it was carelessness with the ball, and also a few 3-and-outs that didn't necessarily help them. So yeah, and then the Bills, they're moving on. The experience just mattered a bit more, and just Josh Allen and Sean McDermott just found a way to win and just found a way to make plays. Josh Allen found a way to make plays, despite the injuries to the receiving core, like Gabe Davis, Josh Palmer's out for the year is out for the year with a right MCL tear. So they was already thin on receivers. So now moving forward, the Bills, they're gonna have to find some sort of way to get other receivers going, like Shavers. They're gonna have to find a way to get Dawson Knox going. And if they don't get them going, it's gonna be a long, long day. But yeah, that was my thoughts about that. So let me know how you feel about both sides, about the Bills. Where do you think they're gonna go next? Do you think they can beat the Broncos? And about the Jags, where do you see them going next year? Do you see them keeping same roster? Do you think it's all gonna be, or do you think they're gonna have to make some changes? Let me know your thoughts about it down in there. Oh God, God 9. Hey, what's going on? You said it's all scripted. Oh yeah, you already know Vegas wants their money. They want their calling card. They did not want to see. They did not want to see. They did not want to see the Bills and Josh Allen go down in the first round early, especially by Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. They didn't want to see that happening. They want to see their money maker. They making money off of these teams, man. Vegas is, and of course the NFL is. They want to make their money any which way possible. So yeah, they did not want to see them go out like that in the first round. That's just not gonna work. All right, so let's get on to the 49ers and Eagles. Yeah, the San Francisco 49ers. So the San Francisco 49ers beat the Philadelphia Eagles by 4 as they move on to play the Seattle Seahawks, and the Eagles go home. Now, Jalen Hurts only had 168 yards on 20 of 35 attempts, and on 35 attempts, and only completed 20 passes. Saquon Barkley had 106 yards on 26 carries, so he had a nice game. Brock Purdy had 2 turnovers, and 2 turnovers and 2 touchdowns, 262 yards. Christian McCaffrey was really pretty much getting shut down and slowed down by the Eagles' defense. Main difference was DeMarcus Robinson's connection with Brock Purdy, and the Eagles just had a lot of drop passes. They had at least about 4 drops in the game. They had a lot of drop passes in this game. It was a thing where they just had so many things that just went wrong in their favor, that just did not go their way. Yeah, AJ Brown dropped 3 passes. Yeah, they just dropped several passes from Jalen Hurts. AJ Brown had at least 3 drops. Dallas Goedert had a drop pass that could have put more points on the board. That only gave him the 19-17 lead. Then Devontae Smith dropped a few balls. So a lot of the times the ball was not going in their favor. They're not going in the Eagles' favor. And as far as the 49ers, they found a way to escape and taper off, man. They found a way to get it done, and they found a way to put put it right on point and keep things afloat. And then my thing is with the 49ers. I think they're expected to get Fred Warner back next week. I believe they're expected to get Fred Warner back. I don't know about Nick Bosa, but their injuries, you would think it would catch up with them. I just think that their injuries somehow, some way may catch up with them. Just didn't happen in this game. Did not happen in this game. But as far as they're concerned, a lot of questions be surrounded by Brock Purdy. Is Brock Purdy in the top 10 QB conversation? I don't know. Like, we'll see after this. We'll see after this year, and we'll see after these playoffs. We'll see how my whole quarterback assessment will be. But the jury is still on the table for them to even get this to the Super Bowl. And Kyle Shanahan too. The jury's still on him. Is he ever gonna get over the hump and get his team to win, and when it matters most, win a Super Bowl and get to the promised land? We'll see. I just don't see them winning, against the Seahawks. But we'll talk about that in the divisional round preview. But as far as the Eagles is concerned, my thoughts about them: they really need to change their number one receiver. They really need to get a reliable offensive line. They need to develop some guys in the draft, and they really need to either make a coaching change as far as the offensive coordinator, and they need to have Nick Sirianni not call plays anymore if that's the case, man, because both of them have played a responsibility and not being creative and not being imaginative like they was last year, as I did a preview of last year's Super Bowl and last year's playoffs. They just was not creative enough. They wasn't just imaginative. And you saw down the stretch in this game, the Eagles just did not make any more plays to the point where they could make them assuring that they was gonna have a better shot of winning. And then also, my thing is, people going to criticize Jalen Hurts as far as his vision, his eye level. Like, is he seeing the field correctly and all that? I mean, yeah, you can question those things. I'm not saying you can't. But at the end of the day, I don't really think that's the big factor. I think the big factor is because a new play caller, a new offensive coordinator, and Ken Patullo, and he does not really focus on understand the offense and how to be creative. And not using the running game. They need to be using the running game more and using Jalen Hurts' legs to get him out the pocket. I thought that was just saving him for the postseason, but they didn't really save him because they didn't really use him on him. They really use his legs that much, and that just because of the lack of creativity and the lack of imaginative parts of their offense became so predictable and became so affluent, and it just didn't really work for me. So that's my thing for the Eagles. They need to make some offseason changes. Revamp the offensive line, trade A.J. Brown, and really use a lot of the other receivers like Jahan Dotson or John Mesh. They need to really use their other receivers more, and they really need to install it in Tank Bigsby in the offense more, because they can actually make them more creative. So those are my thoughts with that. So moving on to the last game was the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Patriots was so dominant on defense, combined of 6 sacks. They slowed down and shut Justin Herbert down. He only had 159 yards passing, and he was the league leader rusher with 57 yards. Drake May was also the league leader rusher for the Patriots with 66, and he had 268 yards. The Patriots were dominant on both sides of the ball. Both teams were horrible on third down. Horrible on fourth down conversions was the Chargers. And the Patriots had a way more time possession. Now, What I mean by they were dominant, they got 6 sacks. They had over 7 pass breakups, several on Keaton Allen, several on Ladd McConkey. They were slowing him down all the way. The Patriots defense was just unbelievable. Chaston, Fernie Jennings, Robert Spillane getting after him, Marcus Jones on some delayed corner blitzes, and also some delayed hurry up and pressures. So the Patriots was pretty much on point throughout the entirety of this game. They made everything difficult and a living nightmare for Justin Herbert out there on the field, and they just proved to be the better team. And so now they're moving on to the divisional round and having another home playoff game. So, and this was going to be a low scoring game like I thought. I thought it was going to be more of a low scoring game. Both teams, defensively are nice, but I just think the Patriots are going to make more plays towards the end and really salvage the moment and get it done. So as for the LA Chargers, yeah, they're gonna have to make some changes, a lot of changes at the running back. They have to make some changes on the offensive line. They have to make some changes on defense. Khalil Mack is probably gonna be out of there pretty soon because they're wasting his last years. So yeah, they're gonna have to do a lot of things moving forward that's gonna really put them over the top. And in my opinion, we'll know what things is gonna be. We'll know what things is gonna be heading down the road, heading down south. And I don't want to hear nothing about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is not a top. I don't want to hear nothing about Justin Herbert being a top elite quarterback. I don't want to hear it. He's not nowhere near a top elite level quarterback. I don't see it, and I probably will never see it, in my opinion. He's not nowhere near that top tier conversation. Especially after this game, he's nowhere. He's not going anywhere be in that discussion. Because it proves once again he couldn't get it done when it counts the most. So yeah, and Drake May pretty much is not only in the MVP conversation, he should be the front runner to win it because he's been having a tremendous season, bounce back year in his second year, and really doing his thing. And he's only going to continue to grow more and get better and have a whole lot of effort. So, and this is the Patriots' first playoff win in like dang near a little bit over a decade. That's crazy. That's wild to even think and say. But yeah, those are my thoughts about the Chargers and Patriots. Now tonight's game between the Texans and the Steelers. I'll just talk about that real quick. So the Houston Texans are on a 9-game winning streak since Week 5 in the regular season. And they're going against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who won a division off of a late missed field goal. And this time, I'm going with the Houston Texans. I think the Texans are going to come in there in an attack mode. C.J. Stroud's going to come in there and be on point. I think this is a game that you got to really keep your eyes on as far as for Aaron Rodgers' sake, because that offensive line for the Steelers is going to have their hands on their hips in a swivel, trying to guard and take down Will Henderson and Danielle Hunter and the rest of that Texans front four. Then also you got Al Zahid Shahir, and you got an excellent secondary with the return of Kamari Lassiter and Derek Stingley, Jalen Reed, and Jalen Petrie. So it's going to be very, very tough for the Pittsburgh Steelers to try to move the ball on the Houston Texans. They're the number one red zone defense and they're the number one total defense in the entire NFL. So it's going to be very tough to get after this team in every which way possible. So I can see this game being very low scoring, but I got the Houston Texans winning. So if that's the case, the divisional round, and I'll do this real quick, guys. The 49ers play the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks in this game. I think this is going to be very, very intriguing. But I see the Seattle Seahawks winning it. I know everybody says it's hard to beat a divisional team twice, but this time I feel like the Seahawks are ready for their prime. They're ready for that destiny. And I just think they are prime and ready for that run to go to the championship. And if they get there, because of the advantage, it's going to put them in the best shape possible, in the best favor. So give me the Seattle Seahawks in this game. I see it like the second matchup. It's going to be very, very low scoring. I see this 23-20 kind of game, and I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks. You got the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. This is a game where the Broncos should be able to win this one, but I think the other way around. I think the Bills find some way, the luck of the draw, the magic. Josh Allen will continue on, and they'll move on to the AFC Championship game. So I got the Buffalo Bills winning. A high-scoring game. I see this one being 28-24, 28-25 game. Give me the Buffalo Bills. And then the LA Rams and the Chicago Bears. Can the magic of the Chicago Bears, luck of the draw in the fourth quarter, down double digits, continue on as they at home facing the LA Rams? I don't think so. I got the LA Rams winning this game. I feel like Matt Stafford's going to come in knowing that championship and the Super Bowl's on the line, knowing that their titles are at stake. Give me the LA Rams to win this one. Give me the LA Rams to win this one. You said the Rams are looking that good. Their defense is not looking that good. Yeah, I definitely feel that. Their defense isn't looking that good, but so isn't the Chicago Bears. The Bears can't rush the passer. And you saw that. Yeah, the Rams defense isn't looking that good. Yes, I definitely agree with that. Legend of that. Yeah. The thing is, the Rams defense got guys returning back like Quentin Lake, and it's different kind of head levels in the game where you're returning from the end of the regular season or towards the end of the half of the regular season. The last half of the regular season versus you're returning when the field of the game and adversity of the game and the environment is different, and you're in a hostile crowded environment against a young, aspiring Carolina Panthers team that's looking to try to surge and looking to try to prove doubters and haters and naysayers wrong. But they made a lot of mistakes. The Panthers made a lot of mistakes earlier on in the game that the Rams just didn't convert, like a fumble on the punt return, then an interception that led to some points on the board. And then, of course, the fumble that on the kickoff by the Panthers that really put the Rams in good field position. That also failed to convert on fourth down. I think there was like 1 for 4 on fourth down conversions. So the Rams should have put up a lot of points on the board. They could have put up at least 40 points on the board. They just didn't do that. So there was a lot of bad mistakes on the Rams' offensive side of the ball. They just didn't put up a whole lot of points. Whereas the Chicago Bears, if they get out to a slow start and they get out to too many slow starts, it's going to come back to bite them pretty soon. Trust me on that. You don't sustain drive. You don't sustain them kind of wins in the postseason down by double digits and have to keep reeling your way back into it. I just think that's going to come and rear its ugly head to me. Whereas the Rams, I think the experience is going to matter. And I just think because the Bears do not get after the passer that well, I think that's going to actually elevate and help out Matt Stafford and that offense, and he's going to be able to find holes and pick holes, especially with the return of Devontae Adams to go along with Xavier Smith and Puka Nacua. Oh, and Tutu Atwell's there as well. So, yeah, it's going to help them out a lot. So I think the Rams will pull off this win over the Bears just for those reasons alone. And we have to wait until whoever faces the Patriots next, because depending on how the outcome is, I had the Texans, so we'll see about that. But until then, guys, I am gone. I am out of here. Thank you all for watching, liking and sharing, and most of all, subscribing. I really appreciate that. But yeah, I'm about to get on out of here. Yep, I'm about to get on out of here, guys. I am out. Peace.